In this video, I'm going to introduce Email Security Appliance or ESA. Users are no longer accessing email only from the corporate network or from a single device. Cisco provides cloud-based, hybrid, and on-premises solutions based on the Email Security Appliance ESA that can help protect any dynamic environment. This video introduces these solutions and technologies and explains how users can use threat intelligence to detect, analyze, and protect against both known and emerging threats. The following are the most common email-based threats: spam, malware attachment, phishing, and also spear phishing. Let me to explain a little about them. First, spam. This unsolicited email message advertise a service, a scam typically, or a message with malicious intent. Email spam continues to be a major threat because it can be used to spread malware. About the malware attachments, these threats are email message containing malicious software or About the phishing, this threat is an attacker's attempt to fool a user into thinking that the email communication comes from a legitimate entity or site, such as a bank, social media, website, online payment processor, or even the corporate IT department. The goal of a phishing email is to steal a user's sensitive information, such as user credential, bank account information, and so on. And finally, about the spear phishing, these threats involve phishing attempts that are more targeted. Spear phishing emails are directed to specific individuals or organizations. For instance, an attacker might perform a passive reconnaissance on an individual or organization by gathering information from social media sites, for example, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook, and other online resources. Then the attacker might tailor a more directed and relevant message to the victim to increase the probability that the user will be fooled into following a malicious link, clicking an attachment containing malware, or simply replying to the email and providing sensitive information. Another phishing-based attack called whaling specifically targets executives and high-profile users. The Cisco ESA runs the Cisco Async OS operating system. Cisco Async OS supports numerous features that help mitigate email-based threats. The following are examples of the features supported by the Cisco ESA. First, access control, then anti-spam, then network antivirus, advanced malware protection or AMP, and also data loss prevention DLP, email encryption, email authentication, and Outbreak filters. Let me to explain a little about them. About the access control. This feature controls access for inbound senders according to a sender's IP address range, or domain name. About the anti-spam, multi-layer filters are based on Cisco sender-based reputation and Cisco anti-spam integration. The anti-spam reputation and zero-day threat intelligence are fueled by the Cisco Security Intelligence and research group named Talos. About the network antivirus. Network antivirus capabilities are provided at the gateway. Cisco partnered with Sophos and McAfee, supporting their antivirus scanning engines. About the advanced malware protection or AMP, this tool allows security administrators to detect and block malware and perform continuous analysis and retrospective alerting. About the data loss prevention or DLP, this feature enables administrators to detect any sensitive emails and documents leaving the corporation. The Cisco ESA integrates RSA email DLP for outbound traffic. About the email encryption, this feature enables administrators to encrypt outgoing email to address regulatory requirements. The administrators can configure an encryption policy on the Cisco ESA and use a local key server or hosted key service to encrypt the messages. About the email authentication, a few email authentication mechanisms include Sender Policy Framework or SPF, Sender ID Framework or SIDF, and Domain Keys Identified Mail DKIM verification of incoming mail, as well as Domain Keys and DKIM signing of outgoing email. About the Outbreak filters, these filters provide preventive protection against new security outbreaks and email-based scams using Cisco Talos threat intelligence information. The Cisco ESA acts as the email gateway for an organization, handling all email connections, accepting messages, and relaying message to the appropriate systems. The Cisco ESA can service email connection from the internet to users inside the network and from systems inside the network to the internet. Email connection use Simple Mail Transfer Protocol or SMTP. The ESA services all SMTP connections, by default acting as the SMTP gateway. Mail gateways are also known as mail exchangers or MX. The Cisco ESA uses listeners to handle incoming SMTP connections requests. A listener defines an email processing service that is configured on an interface in the Cisco ESA. Listeners apply to email entering the appliance from either the internet or internal systems. The following listeners can be configured: public listeners for email coming in from the internet, and private listeners for email coming from hosts in the corporate or inside network. These emails are typically from internal Groupware, Exchange, POP, or IMAP email servers. Cisco ESA listeners are often referred to as SMTP daemons, and they run on specific Cisco ESA interfaces. When a listener is configured, the following information must be provided. First, listener properties such as a specific interface in the Cisco ESA and the TCP port that will be used. The listener properties must also indicate whether the listener is public or private. Then, the hosts that are allowed to connect to the listener using a combination of access control rules. An administrator can specify which remote host can connect to the listener. And finally, the local domains for which public listeners accept messages.